Hello everyone, I'm back again with a review, a 2-year later review, long-term review of the iPad mini 6. Now, there's rumors that there's going to be an iPad mini 7 coming out soon, perhaps even as early as September 12th with the big Apple iPhone announcement coming out for the iPhone 15. Not really sure about that. So I'm kind of going ahead and share with you the Wikipedia page. Tells us, that it came out on 1-year cycles for the first 4 years. First one, 2012, then 2013, 2014, and 2015. That was the iPad mini 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then there was a four and a half year, or actually I guess 3.5 year hiatus between the fourth and fifth generation. Okay, and then 2.5 years until we got this iPad, which is the iPad mini 6. Now, for many people, as many people have, done, I've really tried my hardest to make the iPad a sort of a productivity device. And I go a long way back. So I had the iPad 2, I've had the iPad, I think my next iPad was the iPad Air 2, which I think was the best iPad of all time in terms of doing iPad tablet-y things, right? What was it back in the day? You kind of knew what you were getting into. It was a not really productivity device. It was more of a consumption device with some very light productivity and a blown up iPhone. And at the price points of like $499, you could sort of expect that, okay? Now, when the Pro models came out, I really tried hard to use it as a productivity device in a more substantive way. I use a lot of Microsoft Office Suite, so I'll preface it by saying I'm not an artist. Digital art is not my thing. I can't even color in the lines. So, if you're an artist, this might be the tool that, you make a living from. And I can't comment to that. So my commentary is more along the lines of somebody who doesn't necessarily engage in art. And for me, the iPads have been a disappointment. So this Mini 6, I heard a lot of people say, this is the perfect device. This is the one to get. What I'm using it for is what I was using an iPad for was Microsoft Office Suite, as well as, obviously consumption videos and what have you, a portable device. And pretty much, that's it. Taking notes was the other major thing that I do. Now, as far as, and I've had iPad Pro. I had iPad Pro 11, had iPad Pro 10.5, iPad Pro 9.7. When they went to the Pro models, I was really more hopeful that it would be a Pro device, but frankly, they're just really not. They're, other than the artist part of it and using the Apple Pencil, in my opinion, and again, maybe I'm just old school with respect to how I use the OS, I don't believe that this is really what Apple advertises it to be, particularly in the era of what's a computer, right? The file system, the file saving storage system is horrible, okay? There's just no way around it. So in many ways, this is the only hope. This was my only hope for having an iPad that I could use at least minimally as a productivity device. I frankly gave up on trying to use the Pros, okay, the Pro models. I love the size of the 12.9, but it's not a productivity device in the way that I need it. Again, if you're an artist, that might be the case, maybe even a musician. I can't speak to those things. But in terms of, just the file management system alone in iOS is horrible. The other thing I want to kind of talk about is that there should be some kind of DeX support for this, in the way that Samsung kind of turns it into a computer when you plug into something to blow it up and make it bigger. It's just, very similar in terms of how you use the iPad. And I think they should have it on their phones too, but it doesn't translate well. So you put it on the big screen, you have these big bars on the side. It's not really, I guess it's not a laptop, right? And it's not that I want it to be a laptop. It would be nice if it was a laptop, or had more laptop functionality. And again, the file management system, I think, is its biggest fatal flaw. But I tried to use it for note-taking and some light productivity. And to be honest with you, it's just, this was kind of like my last hope iPad. Okay, I've tried the 11, I tried the 12 with the keyboard and the pencil, turned it into like a laptop I can take it on, take it places and do work on, especially because it has cellular connection. I really would like a cellular connection in my MacBook Pro, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So that was like my biggest kind of thing with these iPads. So I have had cellular connections on all of them in the hopes that I could take them mobile and work mobile away from home, and not have to be dependent on, like, coffee shop Wi-Fi and things of that nature. I just wanted my own cellular connection. And it doesn't seem like, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the productivity aspect of it is really there. Now, again, I can get a good amount of stuff done on it, but the OS is just really clunky in a lot of ways. Again, I tried the 11, I tried the 12.9. It just wasn't cutting it, especially at the price point. Okay, so I did opt to use a Surface Pro often times as well, and I've used Surface Pro's devices. The only problem with those is the battery's really horrible and they heat up quite a bit. And there's other little clunkiness with respect to its tabletability. So it's kind of like a weird thing, right? Do you want the tablet experience? Do you want the computer experience? I want both. I think these machines are capable of doing both. But Apple, and I get it, they want to make money. They want to, they're a multi-trillion-dollar company. They want you to buy the tablet. They want you to buy the phone. They want you to buy the computer. They want you to buy all of the parts, right? So I totally get that. However, I think that they really are kind of at a crossroads with this. And I kind of feel like people are, even some of the reviewers who love Apple, right? And you can know who they are, right? They're the Apple, and, I don't want to get into the whole fanboy thing, but they're hardcore. They're even kind of frustrated with it. Now, the pencil experience, I gave up on. This was the last hope for iPad for me personally, because everyone was saying this is the best one to get. At the very least, I was like, okay, I can't do the other stuff that I'd like to do. I couldn't even share a PowerPoint on Zoom, okay? There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to share a PowerPoint on Zoom with an iPad Pro. I can share files. I can share like a magic whiteboard, but I couldn't share PowerPoint. And that's inexcusable, okay? Especially in the age that we're living in. So I gave up on the larger models. And my hopes for this one was to basically have a very portable device, something I could take with me everywhere. And when I need it in a pinch, even attach it to like a keyboard, have a little mouse here, a Microsoft mouse. I have a Logitech keyboard, right, that I use to plug it into, and I can take it and kind of do work on the go if I had to, right? But it's just not working. And at the end of the day, and let me go back a second. At the end, so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna at least do that, some light work and some note taking. I'm not gonna do any major work on it. The pencil experience is horrible. I'm sorry. The artists may like it, but the natural ability to just erase, which is why I like the Surface Pro pencils better, or Microsoft Surface pencils, it's not there. That little tap thing to erase is ridiculous. It feels so hard on the screen. It feels so hard on the screen. It's so unnatural. It just kind of feels a little gross, to be honest with you. I don't like the way it feels at all. So I gave up on the pencil. So what this device has essentially become is a consumption device, like the original iPad. I play FIFA Mobile. I play, that's the only game I really play. I do a little word search game. I watch some TV on it. I do some chatting on it. I do some FaceTime on it. And I can do all that on my iPhone, And so, in the, Star Wars thing where I think it's Princess Leia's like, Obi-Wan, you're our last hope or your only hope. This was the last hope for me, right, for iPads. And I'm going to give up. I'm sorry. I can do all this on my phone. And I'm not trying to say it's just a blown up phone, because it can do other things. I can't draw on my phone. I can't take notes on my phone with a pencil. I get that. But, and it runs well. It's great at what it does. Just don't advertise it for anything more than what it is. That's my, I guess, biggest issue with the iPad lineup and the iPad Pro lineup in particular. Now, this is not a Pro. This is just a mini. So, but I think the price point is pretty egregious as well. If you're going to get an iPad, my advice is to either get the base model, the 10.2. That's like a really kind of sweet spot, I think. Or the Air, that's kind of the old school, I guess, model that is the heir apparent to what iPads used to be, right? The Air in particular. It's light. It has the M1 chip. It's a very solid consumption device. I don't think... And given that you can often find the Airs cheaper than this even, or around the same price point, I think that's the better buy. I see sometimes the iPad Pro 11 is pretty cheap, but I just don't think it's necessarily worth it. The Pro models I think are not not worth it. Unless, of course, again, you're an artist. So it's a little ranty. Sorry about that. Just some of my frustrations with the iPad lineup. But the iPad mini, it is what it is. Don't take it for anything more than what it is. If you can manage to do note taking on this thing, and then more power to you, I think that's great. The screen is okay size, but personally, after 2 years and after years and years of trying iPads and kind of hitting my head against the iPad wall, I'm going to hold off and, not really deal with iPads anymore for the foreseeable future until the OS is really matured to a point where I could actually use it, not as a complete laptop replacement, but as a substantive alternative, especially with the cellular connection. I think that for people who do mobile work, that's kind of where it's at. Anyhow, again, a little ranty, didn't mean to be all ranty about it, but my review of this 2 years later is that, sure, it's a great device. I think it's severely overpriced. I don't think all Apple products are. I think the M1 MacBook Air at $749 oftentimes is a bargain of the year. But given what Apple advertises the iPad lineup to be, I don't think it's necessarily living up to what it's advertised as. Okay, well, that's all for now. I hope you're well. I hope your family's well. Take care of yourself, and see you next time.